Okay, so once again, good day everyone. So our topic for today is securing information system. So in this topic, now we're looking forward that we could able to identify the information security triad, no? The identify and understand the high level concepts surrounding information security tools and secure yourself digitally. So as computers and other digital devices have become essential to business and commerce, no, they have also increasingly become a target for attacks. In order for a company or an individual to use a computing device with confidence, they must first be assured that the device is not compromised in any way and that all communications will be secure. So in this discussion, we will review the fundamental concept of information system security and discuss some of the measures that can be taken to mitigate security threats. So, and we also covered the overview focusing on how organizations can stay secure. And of course, several and different measures that a company or organizations can take to improve security will be able to tackle. So then we follow up by the reviewing of security precautions that individual can take in order to secure their personal computing environment. So to give us more details about securing information system, let us all welcome our presenter. Go ahead.
Okay, Sir Abante. So I was assigned to discuss about Chapter 8, which is Securing Information System. So for our learning objectives, we have why are information systems vulnerable to destruction, error, and abuse? What is the business value of security and control? What are the components of an organizational framework for security and control? And what are the most important tools and technologies for safeguarding information resources? So from this picture, it illustrates some reason why businesses need to pay special attention to information system security. This site and a large number of users make it unusually attractive for criminals and hackers intent to stealing valuable personal and financial information, propagating malicious software. In addition to this, it loses from theft of financial data and the difficulties of eradicating the malicious software or repairing damage caused by an identity theft to operational costs that make them or make both individuals and businesses less more effective. For example, is yung mga social media platforms katulad ng Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and so on. Yung mga ginagamit nating mga social media platform ngayon sa panahon natin. Parang iisipin mo kung paano mangyayari kapag wala kang in-install na firewall or antivirus dun sa cellphone mo or sa desktop na ginagamit mo. System vulnerability and abuse. For security, it refers to the approaches, system, and specialized measure used to forestall unapproved access, change, robbery, or actual harm of a data framework. For control, this will be the strategies, arrangement, and hierarchical techniques that guarantee the security of the association resources. It also the exactness and dependability of its record and the functional adherence to the executive norms. So why systems are vulnerable? So in this figure naman po, it illustrates the most common threats against contemporary information system. They can be technical or organizational or can be environmental factor that compounded by poor management decision of a client or the server that exists at each layer in the communication between each layers. So a web-based application typically includes a web client. So a server in a corporate information system linked to every databases. So each of these components present security challenges and vulnerabilities. For wireless security challenges, it shows that the SSID, identifying the access point in a Wi-Fi network, are broadcast multiple and can be picked up fast easily by intruders sniffer program. Many Wi-Fi network can be penetrated easily because of using sniffer program to obtain an address to access the resources of a network without an authorization. Malicious software program. This will be the incorporate of an assortment of danger. For example, yung mga PC infection na maaring makuha natin or mga cellphone, yung mga virus na nakukuha natin, especially kapag nag-access tayo ng mga dito yung mga link na nakikita natin sa Facebook. For example, sa Facebook, yung mga free 500, tapos kailangan mo lang mag-sign up dun sa link na yon. Hindi natin alam yung mga information is nagiging confidential na kapag clinic na natin yung link na yon. Parang nagbibigay na tayo ng freeway dun sa virus na yon para makapasok dun sa cellphone or PC na naka-sign in tayo. So, computer virus is a rebel programming program that joins itself to other programming project or information documents to be executed without a client information or authorization. So, for worms naman po, it is a autonomous PC program that duplicate themselves from one PC to different PCs over an organization. So, from this table naman po, it describes the characteristic of some of the most harmful worms and viruses that have appeared to date, where worms and viruses have cost billions of dollars to damage to corporate network. So may kita naman po natin sa table, ito po yung sa name, yung type, saka yung description niya. Kung kailan siya na-detect or kailan siya na-identify or appear. Trojan horse. So Trojan horse po is a product program that has all earmarks of being harmless. However, at that point, it accomplishes some different options from expected. So for example, yung SUS Trojan depicted in the section opening case po. Tapos, SQL injection attacks. This will be the biggest malware danger. Spyware. This will be the irritating on PC client security. Keyloggers. It records each keystroke made on a PC to take chronic numbers for programming. It also dispatches the web assault and also access the email account to acquire password to secure PC framework. For example, is yung MasterCard number or any kind of tawag dito, yung mga credit card na ginagamit natin, hindi lang MasterCard. May mga BDO, BPI, China Bank, ay yung BPO, BPI, mga ganong tawag dito, mga credit card. Tapos, hackers and computer crime. Hacker is a person who expects to acquire unapproved admittance to a PC framework. So, etong hacker, siguro familiar na tayo sa word na hacker kasi kapag kunyari hindi na gumana yung account mo sa Facebook or hindi mo na siya nabuksan, iisipin natin na nahack agad yung account natin. Ibig sabihin may behind dun sa hindi mo magamit yung account na yon, iisipin mo na may nang hack ng account mo. So cyber vandalism, it is the deliberate interruption, mutilation, or annihilation of a site or corporate data framework. Spoofing and sniffing. Spoofing, ito po yung diverting an internet connect to a location in relation to the plan one with the website taking on the appearance of the expected objective. So example po ng spoofing, kapag kayong hackers redirect sa customer sa isang website, isang fake na website na nagmumukhang totoong website, maaari nilang makuha yung tawag dito kung paano yung processing order. Tapos kapag nakuha na nila yon, may tendency na makuha nila yung mga confidential information tsaka yung mga account number na nilink doon sa may website na yon. The sniffer naman po, it is a kind of snooping program that screen data going over an organization. Denial service of attack. So denial of service or DOS is an assault programmer flood an organization worker or web worker with a huge number of bogus interchanges or demands for administration to crush the organization. So dalawa po sila, isang denial of service and distributed denial of service. For distributed denial of service naman, or DDoS, it is the first purposeful disturbance, ruination, or even obliteration of a site or corporate data framework. So for computer crime naman po, so for this table naman po, it provides an example of the computer as a target of crime po. Dito po makikita natin ito, yung computer as a target of crime. And yung instrument po of crime were economically damaging kinds of computer crime are DOS attack, introducing viruses, theft of services, and disruption of computer system. Identity theft. This will be it's a wrongdoing wherein faker gets key bits of individual data. Phishing. It includes setting up counterfeit sites or sending email or instant messages that resemble those of genuine organization to ask client for private individual information. Yung evil twins naman po are remote organization that claim to offer reliable Wi-Fi association with the web. And yung huli naman po is yung farming. It diverts client to any page or any event when the individual finds the right site page address into their program. Yung fraud naman po, it happens when an individual PC taps on an online platform with no expectation of studying the promoter of or making a buy. So for internal threats or in employees, social engineering is a malignant gate crashes looking for framework access now and gain stunt workers into uncovering their password by professing to be authentic individuals from the organization needing data. software vulnerability patches. This will be the small pieces or little bits of programming to fix the blemishes without upsetting the legitimate activity of the product. For example, yung Microsoft Windows Vista Service na it includes some security enhancement to counter malware and hackers. Electronic evidence and computer forensics. Computer forensics is a logical assortment or basically an assessment, validation, safeguarding, and examination of an information or recovered from PC, stockpiling media so that the data can be utilized as a proof in a courtroom. So, it deals with the following problems, like recovering data from computers while preserving evidential integrity, securely storing and handling recovered electronic data, finding significant information in a large volume of electronic data, and presenting the information to a court of law. Information systems control. So general control administer the plan, the security, and the utilization of PC program, and the security information documents all through the association data innovation framework. Application control are the explicit control remarkable to each electronic application. So for example po dito sa may application control is yung finance or request. Yung finance or request na process. Kung finance and request processing or preparing. Tapos application control can be So application control can be classified as into three types of controls. Yung una po is yung input controls. Input controls, it check the information for precision and culmination when they enter the framework. For processing control naman po, it set up the information, finish and exact during refreshing. So for output control, it guarantees that the after effect of PC handling are precise, finished, and appropriately circulated. So kapag nag-input po, ipaprocess, then maglalabas po ng outcome na galing po dun sa input and ginawa po nating process. So from this table naman po, it illustrates po the sample result of risk assessment for an online ordering processing system. Ito po yung type of general control, yung iba't ibang type ng general control with their description po, with their respective description. So risk assessment po, from this table po pala, it describes the function of each control. Ito yung type of general control tsaka yung respective description po nila. While sa may risk assessment naman po, yung sample result of a risk assessment po for an online ordering process. So ito po yun. Yung the next column po, it shows the highest and lowest possible loss. Ito po. Ito po. Tapos, Ito naman po yung expected na annual loss nila. Tapos ito yung percentage lang naman po ito. Ito po yung sa yung highest and lowest possible loss po nila that could be unexpected or expected. Security policy, this will compromises the articulation, positioning data hazard, recognizing adequate security objectives, and distinguishing the system for accomplishing this objective. So, acceptable use policy. It adequate or it characterize adequate employment of the company's data asset and processing gear, including the work area and PC, some gadgets, phones, or the web. Identity management comprises a business cycle and programming apparatus for distinguishing the legitimate client of a framework, and it controls the admittance to framework assets. For disaster recovery planning and business continuity planning, there are two types of planning, which is the disaster recovery planning and business continuity planning. For disaster recovery planning, it will be the plans for the reclamation of registering and interchanges administration. For business continuity planning naman po, it centers around how the organization can reestablish the business task after a catastrophe strikes. From this figure naman po, it shows two example po. Yung itong security profile 1 tsaka security profile 2. Na maaari nating makita sa isang personnel system. So depending on the access rules, a user would have certain restriction on access to virus system, locations or data in an organization. Katulad nung makikita po natin sa may picture, yung user location sa security profile 1 tsaka sa security profile 2 po. Lahat po ng mga information or data na nandito po sa loob ng security profile 1 and 2. So the role of MIS auditing or of auditing. MIS audit looks at the association general security climate to control, administer or administering data framework. Identity management and authentication. Authentication is the capacity to realize that an individual is who the person professes to be. So for password, siguro alam naman na po natin yung password. It known distinctly to approved client. So ito, tayo lang yung nakakaalam nito nung password natin. For example, sa mga social media platform na meron tayo or sa mga sa cellphone or desktop na pagmamay-ari nyo, syempre lalagyan nyo siya ng password and kayo lang mismo yung authorized na user na makakaalam nun. Pero kung may pagbibigyan naman kayo, yung sure na tawag dito, mapagkakatiwalaan nyo. So for token naman po, it is an actual gadget or masasabi nating recognizable card, proof card, that demonstrate the personality of a solitary client. So for smart card naman po, it is a gadget about the size of a charger card containing a chip design that access authorization and different information. Biometric authentication utilizes the framework to peruse and decipher singular human characteristic. Katulad nung fingerprint natin, yung voices, yung ginagawa natin sa, for example, kapag boboto tayo, for registration tayo for voters ID, di ba? Yung sa step 2 nun, kukunan tayo ng biometric. Ganun yung sa biometric authentication. So in this naman po chart, it is a sample page from a list of control weaknesses. Ito po yun, yung nature of weakness and impact, the change of error and notification to management. This form helps auditors record and evaluate the control weaknesses and shows the result of those weaknesses with management. So for firewalls, intrusion detection system, and antivirus software. For firewalls naman po, it keeps the unapproved clients from getting to a private organization. From this picture po, it generally placed between the organization's private internal network and disrupted external network such as the internet, yung outer firewall, web server, inner firewall, tsaka yung corporate system. So basically po yung internet, mag-aano siya sa outer firewall to inner firewall. Then dito na po papasok yung policy rules. Tapos yung sa corporate system, then databases to sa LAN. So, for packet filtering naman po, it looks at the chosen fields in the header of an information bundle streaming to confident network and the web in analyzing individual parcel. So from stateful inspection naman po, it gives the extra security to decide if bundles are essential to continue an exchange between a sender and the beneficiary. For network address translation, it can give one more layer of a security when the static bundle, shifting and stateful investigation are being utilized. For application proxy filtering naman po, it analyzes the application content to a parcel. For intrusion detection system, it highlights the full-time checking where the most weak focuses a problem area. For antivirus software naman po, for antivirus and anti-spyware software, it intended to genuinely look at the PC framework and drives for the presence of PC infections. Unified threat management, it consolidates the solitary apparatus in different security devices, including the firewall, virtual private organization, the interruption or discovery framework, and also the web content, separating the anti-spam programming. For encryption and public key infrastructure, encryption refers to the interaction of changing plain message or information into a figure message one that can be persuaded by anybody or everybody that the sender and the planned beneficiary or the sender or the beneficiary. So there are two methods for encrypting network traffic on the web. This will be the secure socket layer, SSL, or the secure hypertext transfer protocol or SHTTP. For secure socket layer naman po, it empowered the customer and the worker's PC to oversee the encryption and the decoding exercises as they speak with one another during a protected web session or in a web meeting. For secure hypertext transfer protocol naman po, it used to utilize the scrambling information streaming over the web or over the that is the strictly singular message. Where SSL and TLS is intended to build a protected association between two PC or so for public key encryption, we have here a diagram. So a diagram, it presents a more secure form of encryption called public key encryption nga po, where one shared or public and one totally private. So the sender locates the data when they are received. The sender locates the recipient's public key in a directory and uses it to encrypt a message. This message will be sent in an encrypted form over the internet or a private network. When the message arrives to the recipient, it uses his or her private key to decrypt the data and read the message. So ito yun yung sender, tas encrypt with the public key. Tapos yung message na dapat mag-arrive dun sa recipient, tapos decrypt, dito na papasok yung information, tapos sa recipient na. Digital certificate are some information record used to build the personality of a client or an electronic resources for an assurance of online exchange. Public key infrastructure is the utilization of public key that utilized in online business. So from this figure in ensuring system availability, it shows that the digital certificate help to establish the identity of people or electronic asset. They also protect the online transaction by providing the secure, encrypt, or encrypted online communication. For controlling network traffic or deep packet inspection, it takes care of the issue or it helps to solve the specific problem or some problem. So for security outsourcing naman po, which is the managed security service provider, it performed the weakness testing and interruption discovery. That's all po.
Okay, thank you very much, Madam Miss Grace. Okay, so thank you for your comprehensive discussions of your topic. So again, we need also to consider the triad, no? The information security triad, no? The confidentiality, the integrity, and availability, no? Because when we say the security triad, that is covered with CIA, no? Again, CIA, that is confidentiality, security, availability, no? Then when we say confidentiality, when protecting information, we want to be able to restrict access to those who are allowed to see it. So everyone else should be disallowed from learning anything about its content. And this is the essence of confidentiality. Let's say, for example, law requires that universities restrict access to private student information. So the university must be sure that all those who are unauthorized have access to view the grade records. Okay? So when we say integrity, it is the assurance that the information being accessed has not been altered and truly represent what is intended. So just a person with integrity means that what he or she says and can be trusted to consistently represent the truth. Information integrity means information truly represents its intended meaning. No, information can lose its integrity through malicious intent, such as when someone who is not authorized makes a change to intentionally misrepresent something. Now, an example of this would be when a hacker is hired to go into the university's change system and change a grade. No, integrity can also be lost unintentionally, such as when a computer power surge corrupts a file or someone authorized to make a change accidentally deletes a file or enter incorrect information. So when it comes to availability of the CIA triad, no, information availability is the third part of the CIA triad, of course, because availability means that information can be accessed and modified by anyone authorized to do so in an appropriate time frame. So depending on the type of information, because appropriate time frame can mean different things. So for example, a stock trader needs information to be able immediately. So while a salesperson may be happy to get sales number for the day in a report the next morning. So companies such as Amazon.com will require their servers to be available 24 hours a day or 24/7 or 7 days a week. So other companies may not suffer if their web servers are down for a few minutes once in a while. So our presenter mentioned earlier about the tools for information security. So in order to ensure the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of information, organization can choose from a variety of tools. And each these tools can be utilized as part of an overall information security policy, which will be discussed, of course, no, with authentications, no, access control, encryption, no, and our presenter mentioned earlier, no, the decryption and encryption. So we need also to consider the backups, no, firewalls, and of course the virtual private networks like physical security. And we need to also to develop our security policies. No, beside the technical control, organization also need to implement security policies as a form of administrative control. So in fact, this policy should really by a starting point in developing an overall security plan. So a good information security policy layouts the guidelines for employee use of the information resources of the organizations and provides the organization resource in the case that an employee violates a policy. No? So we have also, I think, especially right now, no, we are in the mobile era, no? As the use of mobile devices such as smartphones and tablets proliferates, no, organization must be ready to address the unique security concerns that the use of these devices bring. So one of the first question an organization must consider is whether to allow mobile devices in the workplace at all. And many employees already have these devices. So the question becomes, should we allow employees to bring their own devices and use them as part of their employment activities? Or should we say that we provide the devices to our employees? No, creating a BYOD, no, bring your own device policy allows employees to integrate themselves more fully into their job and can bring higher employee satisfaction and productivity. In many cases, it may be virtually impossible to prevent employees from having their own smartphones or iPads in the workplace. Now, if the organization provides the devices to its employees, it gains more control over use of the devices, but it also exposes itself to the possibility of an administrative mess. And it's costly, of course, because mobile devices can pose many unique security challenges to an organization. Probably one of the biggest concern is theft of intellectual property. So for an employees with a malicious intent, it would be a very simple process to connect a mobile device either to a computer via the USB port or wireless to the corporate network and download confidential data. And it would also be easy to secretly take a high quality picture using a built-in camera. So when an employee does have permission to access and save company data on his or her device, a different security threat emerges. Now, that devices now becomes a target for thieves. Now, theft of mobile devices, in this case, including laptop, is one of the primary methods that the data thieves use. So, what can be done to secure mobile devices? So it will start with a good policy regarding their use. Now, according to SANS study in 2013, organizations should consider developing a mobile device policy that address the following issues: use of the camera, use of the voice recording, application purchases, encryption at rest, Wi-Fi auto-connect settings, Bluetooth settings, virtual private network use, password setting, lost or stolen device reporting, and backup. So besides policies, there are several different tools that an organization can use to mitigate some of these risks. Let's say, for example, if a device is stolen or lost, geolocation software can help the organization find it, right? No, it's in some cases it may even make sense to install remote data removal software, which will remove data from a device if it become a security risk. Okay, and of course we have usability, no, and personal information security. Okay, so to summarize the security information system, as computing and networking resources have become more and more an integral part of business, they have also become a target of criminals. No? Organization must be vigilant with the way they protect their resources. The same holds true for us personally as digital devices become more and more intertwined with our lives. It becomes crucial for us to understand how to protect ourselves. And I think that's it for security in information system. Once again, congratulations to the presenter.